Engines of war can change their way. We imagine our lives will be. The March family are on their way. Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy.
Want to know what I'm cooking? Soup, and I'll let you have some later. I must concentrate on my cooking, so I can't play with you now, Milky Ann. Now, I have an idea. Milky, Beth must be awake now. Why don't I take you upstairs to pay a little visit to her? Go on.
Ah. Ooh.
Oh. Do you like it, Hannah?
I haven't tasted it yet. It's still too hot. I must say it's as good as I make, Meg.
You mean it?
Yep. When your mama tastes it, she's gonna be very proud.
Oh, am I glad?
I'll tell you, you catch a good husband, you keep this kind of cooking up. Now, right about now, you are gonna start looking.
Hannah, no.
All right, I'm coming. Hello. You can come in now. Beth, you have a visitor.
Thanks, Marmee. Milky Ann. Oh.
Now that you're almost well, dear, we can bring Amy home tomorrow.
I am feeling much better, Marmee, really.
Yes, dear, I know.
Violins, like, No. Ugh! Am I gonna get a taste?
Later. First, I'm bringing this to Beth. It has Hannah's stamp of approval.
Oh, really?
She said it was as good as Marmie's.
As good as Marmie's. That'll be the day. Here goes. It's almost as good.
Good as what?
Yes, Beth, what were you going to say? Your opinion is important, you know.
It's almost as good as yours, Mother.
See, you can cook, dear. Looks like your appetite has returned too, Beth.
I only wish that we could take a giant tureen of the soup to Father.
I do too. But I believe Mr. Brooke has been bringing your father all sorts of good things. He's taking good care of your father at the hospital. When I left Washington to return home to see to your recovery, I made sure your father was in the best of hands.
Marmee! Here's our first letter from Mr. Brooke.
Oh, good.
We were just talking about Mr. Brooke and Father. We were just wishing we could take Father some of this soup. It's good? As good as Marmie's.
Oh, my. He says your father's almost recovered.
Oh.
Mr. Brooke says here, Frederick is anxious to see all of you and is recovering so quickly that you should have him back by the new year.
That's wonderful.
And he says, give my regards to your Meg and her lovely sisters.
Nice of him. May I see the letter?
Of course, dear. Here you are. There's more here, for you personally.
Thanks, Marmee.
I think I'll take a nice long walk in the snow. Bye.
Now, young lady, it's time to finish that soup.
Okay. You can have some.
Ah. Meg's too young to fall in love.
Joe, come upstairs, will you?
Okay, I'll be right up.
Joe, I have a feeling that Meg and Mr. Brooke are falling in love with each other.
She does seem interested in him, Laurie. But I don't think I'd call that being in love.
Oh, come on now, Joe. You've got to admit that they make a nice pair. Don't you think so?
What makes you think you'd know so much about all this, huh? Meg is my sister. I'd know if she was in love a whole lot sooner than you would, Laurie.
Well, maybe. But it just so happens that my powers of observation are very keen. They're in love, Joe.
Mr. Brooke has been an absolutely perfect gentleman to all of us. My whole family appreciates everything he's done for us since we first arrived here. He's been around so much, even my mother is calling him by his first name.
By his first name? You see, that proves it. Parental approval's the first step towards marriage.
That's entirely an assumption on your part. There's no way that I could approve a marriage based on that kind of reasoning.
Tell me, Joe, is there something about Mr. Brooke that you don't like?
I said he was a gentleman.
And he's a superb catch for Meg, don't you think? And Meg for him as well.
A catch? That's silly. Meg is only 1 year older than I am. She's too young to be thinking about marriage for years yet.
How old do you think you have to be? Meg's not too young, and neither are you for that matter.
What? That's idiotic. I'll never marry. A catch. Ha! The idea.
Now, stay calm.
I've got more important goals than standing over a hot stove cooking soup for a husband. Let's stick to talking about Meg, shall we? I agreed that Mr. Brooke is a gentleman, but Meg does not have to jump at the first gentleman who pays a bit of attention to her.
So in other words, you feel that Meg could do better.
That's right. If she waited, she could find a man from a rich family. A man of means.
Nonsense, Joe. Mr. Brooke has plenty of time in which to make his fortune.
Maybe so. He is quite capable. Whatever am I saying? Meg is much too young, and that's all there is to it.
I simply can't agree with you, Joe, and I'm positive that Meg wouldn't agree with you either. In fact, I'll go so far as to bet that they'll be married within a year.
I will not hear of such a thing. She is just not old enough to marry him. And she's not in the least bit in love with him.
I know she is, and I can prove it.
Why don't you mind your own affairs, such as your studying, instead of being such a meddler?
What Mr. Brooke does is my affair.
Ugh. I am leaving.
If that's what you want. But you'll find out I'm right. Darn.
I forgot I have to ask you a favor.
Huh?
My mother wants to know if you'll have time tomorrow to pick up Amy at Aunt March's house. That is, if you're not too busy.
No, I'm not too busy. Will you be coming along, Joe?
I'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Right. I can't wait.
Amy,
Marmee. Oh, Beth is almost completely recovered, right, Marmee?
That's right, dear. And since she's out of danger, we can take you home now.
Oh, that's
dear.
what I was hoping to hear.
Would you like me to go upstairs and help you pack your bag?
I don't need anybody to help me, Joe.
You brought an awful lot here. Don't you need anybody to help you pack it all?
I did it all. I told you that I knew Beth was going to be all right, so I packed already.
You must admit, Amy, that we had a little forewarning because Laurie sent a messenger this morning.
Auntie! Oh, yes, I guess I just forgot about the messenger. Thanks for everything, Auntie.
And thank you for being such good company. I only wish she could stay a while longer, but there is no place like home.
Oh, Aunt March, we thank you for your hospitality. I hope we haven't inconvenienced you in any way.
Mary, it was my privilege to care for the young lady. Your little Amy is full of vigor, and some of it rubbed off on me, I must admit.
Amy keeps us all going non-stop.
Josephine? Will you be coming around again?
As often as you like, Auntie.
Laurie?
Yes, ma'am.
I hardly ever see enough of you, young man. I hope you'll be able to pay me a visit every now and then.
Sure.
going home, and everything is back to normal. With Beth recovered, all 5 of us will be snuggling round the fire again. Actually 6, because Marmee says Father's coming home soon. And Hannah's eggnog to warm our tummies. Everything is back to normal, except Joe and Lori haven't spoken a word for the entire ride home. It's nothing to fret about, I guess. It's just that they usually chatter away so much one can't get a word in edgewise. No matter. It's just good to be home.
Again, Lori, thank you.
I'm just glad I could help.
Hannah, it's so good to be home, Hannah.
It's good to have you back, darling.
I have to go see Beth. Beth! Beth! Hey, Beth!
Amy, hello.
Hi, Beth. I missed you. I missed you so much.
I'm sorry you had to be away.
Don't worry. The important thing is you're getting well.
Much better. In fact, tomorrow I want to try walking.
Are you sure? But are you strong enough?
Will you help me, Amy?
Sure I will. I'll have you strong enough to meet Father at a gallop when he comes home, Beth.
I'm sure you will.
On the very next day, we started Beth's exercise program.
I want to try it alone now.
Oh, be careful, Beth. Don't you think we should rest for a while?
I'm okay.
Beth, we've been at it for almost 2 hours. Don't you think that's enough for one day? You'll get exhausted and have a relapse, won't she, Meg?
What?
You didn't hear a single word I was saying, did you? I said if Beth doesn't rest, she's liable to get exhausted and have a relapse.
Amy's right. You should take it a little at a time and not overdo it. Do you remember what the doctor said, Beth? With patience, your strength will return. I do so want to scurry around again.
Oh, really? How come you never wanted to scurry around before, Beth?
Since I've been sick, I've missed having the chance. I want to. I know you do, dear. But why don't you take the winter months to build up your strength? And when the spring comes, you can frolic to your heart's content. Okay, but I'm strong enough to play the piano now.
Joe? Can I talk to you for a second?
Well, I'd rather not be disturbed right now.
It's very important.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
Oh, all right. What is it?
Beth is feeling much better. I think I helped her a lot.
Say, that's swell. Now go away.
No, wait, Joe, there's a lot more to it. Things are really different since I've returned.
Different? How so?
Well,
I haven't got all day.
first of all, you've changed.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Well, for one thing, you're not talking to Laurie anymore.
Who says I'm not talking to him?
During the carriage ride home from Aunt March's, you didn't speak one single word to him, Joe.
Oh, I hadn't noticed.
That seems strange because you and he are usually very close.
We're not quarreling, if that's what you're getting at. We were discussing something the other day, and we had a difference of opinion, that's all. So what else do you think is different?
Meg has changed. Haven't you noticed she hasn't been herself lately?
Oh, I don't know.
She spends all of her time preoccupied with her own thoughts. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it.
Possibly.
You've both been acting very unusual, and it's making me uncomfortable. But then maybe I'm mistaken.
You're not mistaken about Meg, Amy. She does act funny.
What?
Yes, ever since we received Mr. Brooks' letter from Washington.
Why would that change her?
Amy, you're too young to understand.
Why can't you tell me what the letter said?
Wait a minute. Amy, don't you go blabbing this to Lori. Do you hear me?
I bet Laurie read that letter before he brought it over.
Lori brought it over?
Yes, isn't that the letter you were talking about?
A second letter?
Joe and I then figured out, without too much trouble, that we were talking about 2 different letters. The first was the one Mr. Brooks sent us directly from Washington, which arrived the day before I returned home. The second was one that Mr. Brooke apparently and for some reason sent to Lori to hand-deliver to Meg yesterday. What was in the letters to make Meg behave so strangely was still a mystery to me.
My dearest Margaret, I can no longer hide my love for you, and must know how you feel about me before I return from Washington. I dare not tell your father how I feel just yet, nor put these thoughts in a letter addressed to your whole family. That's why this most personal letter was sent to you by way of Lori. Although for now it is best to keep our love a secret, should the day come when we choose to express our desires, I'm certain your parents would consent to our union, knowing that we adore one another. Mr. Lawrence will help me find a good position. And then, my dear heart, with your consent, we can get married and make each other happy for all eternity. I implore you to reveal nothing of us to your family just yet. I await your words of encouragement. Please send them through Lori to yours sincerely, John Carl Brooke.
That's odd. John signed his letter Carl Brooke as he usually does all his letters. But the signature looks different from the one he sent to us the day before Amy came home. Oh, someone is playing a trick.
Has Beth gone back to her room yet, Hannah?
Uh-huh. And with Miss Amy's help, she walked around a lot.
Really? It looks like she'll be quite fully recovered by Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Mother, the most awful thing has happened. How could they do such a thing to me?
Now calm down. What is it? Meg, please tell me whatever is the matter.
They tried to trick me.
Who would try to trick you, dear?
It was Joe and Lori. They forged a love letter and signed Mr. Brooks' name. How could they do it?
Don't take on so. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Marmee, Meg. Hannah said you wanted to see me?
Come in and sit down, young lady. Are you responsible for this? I want the truth, Joe.
Don't pretend you've never seen this before. You wrote it with Lori's help. How could you two be so mean and insensitive about a very private matter?
Now, Meg, try to stay calm. What do you know about this letter, Joe?
Nothing. I would never try to hurt you by writing something like this.
You've played pranks on me before.
Not now. Until you brought it up, I had forgotten that Lori even brought this letter.
How did you know that Lori delivered the letter? You wouldn't have known unless you took part in this whole ghastly conspiracy.
Josephine, how did you know Lori delivered the letter?
Amy informed me about it earlier today. She said that Meg was acting queerly because of a letter Lori brought to her.
Amy told you?
I didn't write that letter. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm sorry, Joe. We've made a terrible mistake. I hope you'll forgive us.
Amy,
Ah!
it's not nice to eavesdrop.
But Joe's getting a tongue lashing.
Well, maybe the girl deserves it. Eavesdropping, shame on you.
But it could be my fault. I have a right to know what's going on here too, you know. Meh.
I thought the letter was real, but then I noticed the signature was different.
If you had answered it, it would have been disastrous.
I almost did answer it. I kept reading the letter over and over again. After several readings, I thought, how unlike John to be so bold. Then I noticed the slight difference in the handwriting. I thought to myself, why should I hand my reply to Lori when I could send it off directly to John?
Mm-hmm. That scoundrel. Lori forged that letter. He was trying to prove to me that you were in love with Mr. Brooke. Lori and I had words about it just the other day.
If Meg replied she loved him, then Lori'd win the argument.
Well, that does it. I'm not gonna let him get away with this one.
Hush now. I am the head of this household, and I will manage it. A closed fist will solve nothing, Joe.
Huh?
Fetch Laurie. Tell him I want to have a talk with him.
Right. Meg,
Yes, Joe?
you said you were almost going to answer that letter, didn't you?
Yes.
Tell me, what were you going to say in your answer?
Must I?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear the answer to that, too.
The letter was so passionate, I was shocked at first. Then I sat down and thought of how I would answer him. I would say, I'm too young to make a commitment like that. Perhaps when we've spent more time together and know each other better, perhaps then we can think about a union between us. But for now it would be unwise, so I think there's only one thing for us to do. Let's be friends and see what the future may bring. Huh?
Perfection! Great answer. She covered it all, didn't she, Mother?
Yes, Joe, that she did.
Say, Maggie, why don't you put that down on paper and hand it to Laurie?
Josephine, there's no need for that. Just go get Laurie and tell him I want to see him.
I was only kidding.
I saw Joe dash out of the house and across to the Lawrences. I still had no clue as to what was going on. A few minutes later, after hearing Joe return with Laurie, I decided to take action and find out. Is something going on I should know about?
Shh! Wait and don't say anything. Not a word, Amy.
But why?
We're waiting for Marmee and Laurie to finish talking, that's why.
What are they talking about, Joe?
Stop chattering, I can't hear.
Tell me, what are Marmee and Laurie talking about?
There's no reason you shouldn't know, Amy. Marmee is giving Laurie a lecture on manners because he played a dreadful prank on me.
Marmee lectured Laurie for over half an hour. I tried to pry more information from Meg and Joe, but they just told me to hush up. When Laurie emerged, he apologized profusely to Meg and Joe. Then all three went their merry way, leaving me still well in the dark about the whole affair.
Fortunes of war can